Right, we are here to do a food trial assessment video for dysphagia class. And what we're going to do is use a variety of foods to test and make sure that your swallowing mechanism is working appropriately. We're going to begin with some water. I'm going to give you some sips from a spoon. It will be awkward as we do this, I will admit, because my fingers have to be placed under your chin to actually feel the swallowing taking place. So I'm going to give you some water, put my fingers under your chin. You swallow. Good. And if you would say ah for me. Okay. That allows me to know if water has gone into the vocal cord area and is compromising anything. I'm going to give you a little bit more water this time. Same thing. Awkward positioning of my fingers under your chin. Good. Good laryngeal elevation there. And say ah. Ah. Okay. All right, I'm going to give you a sip directly from the cup, but again, I'm going to be managing that for you. Fingers under your chin. And say, okay. All right, I'm going to have you actually take a sip, but again, it's going to be awkward because my fingers will be placed under your chin to feel that. Okay, and say, okay, it seems to be working quite well. We're going to move on to a straw sip. I'm going to have you take one sip from the straw. Again, I'm sorry, my fingers have to be right there under your chin. Feel everything elevate and say ah. Ah. Good. This time we're going to do multiple sips from the straw. Fingers in place, and as you are ready. Okay. And say ah. Ah. Okay. Liquids do not seem to present any problem. So we're going to move on to something a little more substantial. I'm going to have some applesauce here. And give you a small bite from the spoon. Fingers in place under your chin. And say ah. Ah. And this is also going to require that I get a little more invasive. I'm going to have you open your mouth to allow me to check for any residue that might be left behind. And none seems to be there. I'm going to give you a bigger bite this time. Gives the tongue more to prepare and manage as we swallow. Good. And say ah. Ah. Good. Doesn't seem to be slipping down into that vocal fold area. And no visible residue left behind. I'm going to have you do a self-managed portion there. I have my fingers under your chin, checking for that swallow. Good. And say ah. Ah. And checking for residue once again, but it looks like the tongue has moved everything out. Excellent. All right, let's move on. This is going to require a little bit of chewing preparation. Give you some mandarin oranges here. Going to start with a small bite. Fingers under your chin. Go ahead and chew as you need to prepare for that. Good. And say ah. Ah. And again, I need to check for residue. Both sides are clear. All right. I'll give you a bigger bite this time. Fingers under your chin. Go ahead and chew as you need to. No delayed response. Excellent. Let me check for residue. All is good. If you would, serve yourself from that container. Good. Check for any residue. The tongue is doing its job and clearing everything away. All right, we're going to try something with a cracker. I'm going to have you chew it up and prepare it as you need to for swallowing. Before you swallow, I need you to show me your food so I can check for positioning on the tongue. And there it is, ready to go. Okay. Good. Good laryngeal elevation. Check for residue. There will be a little bit left behind this time simply because it is more of a solid. A little bit, but not enough for us to be concerned. At this point, it looks like the swallowing mechanism is functioning properly, and there is no concern for any swallowing issues. Any questions for you? Okay. That concludes our food trial assessment video.